Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Dibs, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Today, we are talking my top 4 most overrated prospects in the 2024 NFL Draft. Guys, if you love the draft and you want more draft content, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button. Let's go! Coming up first, let's talk about Keon Coleman, wide receiver out of Florida State. Keon Coleman is 6'3", 213 pounds, and will primarily remain an outside receiver at the next level. Scouts love Coleman's physicality and body control, and so do I. He was a blast to watch at times with Jordan Travis last year, but the fact of the matter is that he's a poor route runner who leans on that physicality far too often. Coleman's 174 yards per route run last year is a horrific number that cannot be ignored and serves to highlight his biggest fundamental issue, getting open. Aside from his impressive physicality, let's talk about a positive. Coleman did not run well at the combine, but during basic drills, he posted the fastest speed of any receiver per next-gen stats, which can be more indicative of a player's true football speed. Indeed, a very similar thing occurred a year ago with the outstanding Puka Nacua, who also underwhelmed in proper testing at the combine, but set the pace for speed in a similar drill. That said, Puka Nacua was drastically different from Coleman as an advanced route runner who was a technician with underrated athleticism. On the other end, Keon Coleman is just extremely raw. The good news is that Keon Coleman is one of the 3 youngest receivers in the draft, and at the very least, there is projectability there. If you can sharpen his route running and teach more subtle use of his frame to create separation, he could be special, and I understand the allure. Correcting the route running for a player who has been able to dominate physically will be paramount for him at the next level. But as we currently stand, Keon Coleman is most likely a reach in the bottom first, top of the second round. Next up, let's talk about Chop Robinson out of Penn State. Let's get some positives out of the way. If draft players were movie stars, then Chop Robinson's first step and get off is simply worthy of the big screen. His ability to crash across the face of blockers into the B gap or explode up the field as an outside speed rusher is one of the best winning traits in this class. Speed is one thing, but when you pair it with the athleticism and bend he showcases off the edge, that's what really gets the juices flowing. Chop Robinson showcased his excellent athleticism at the combine, and that is really the foundation of what makes his projection so alluring. But let's get into why I think he's currently overrated. Robinson simply needs to learn how to play the run with more consistency. You like the ability to get into the backfield and make disruptive plays, but Robinson's anchor and ability to play with strength along with the point of attack is a big area for growth. He needs to add strength so he can survive on early downs at the next level. We've seen more physical teams up front give him major problems. In summary, I think Chop Robinson is more of a developmental prospect than people want to admit, and I just don't see him as an every down player just yet. Robinson is by no means a finished product and needs to learn the craft of working an offensive tackle and stringing together moves and counters. However, his lightning quickness off the snap certainly makes him an exciting prospect to watch. If he's able to put it all together, I expect him to make an impact as a situational pass rusher during his first NFL season. Coming up next, let's talk about Xavier Worthy out of Texas. The Texas receivers are all quite tricky to parse because there are 4 really good ones, including tight end JT Sanders. Texas had an elite offense last year with borderline elite quarterback play and an equally elite run game, while also playing against a fairly average schedule. Enter Xavier Worthy, who led Texas in targets last year, but man, for a guy who set the world on fire with a 4.2 40-yard dash, how in the world did he finish 2023 being 139th in college football when it comes to yards per completion? How is that even possible? Part of the issue for Xavier Worthy is size, as he's measured at 5'11", 165 pounds, in the bottom 1% of receivers for weight. It's much easier to run fast when you don't currently possess a real NFL body. Worthy will finish the year just 21 years old, and so he may very well fill out. But even if he does, you're betting on him keeping that all-world speed and improving drastically as a route runner. Given his small size, his agility and ability to get off blocks will be paramount at the next level, especially if he is to spend any time in the slot. It's also important to note that Worthy did not participate in any of the more important agility drills at the combine. If you do select Xavier Worthy, you're betting on an incredible athlete growing into a bulkier frame. However, there's a good argument that Worthy was actually the worst regular receiver on the Longhorns, and that his speed, while nice, is serving to disguise some of the much larger deficiencies. Worthy played 90% of his snaps out wide for Texas, and some time in the slot could either do him well or get him killed. And with the ridiculous level of quality talent at the wide receiver position in the draft this year, that is why Xavier Worthy makes our most overrated list. Coming in last, let's talk about Jeremiah Trotter Jr., linebacker out of Clemson. If you were to listen for 1 second among Eagles fans talking NFL draft, one of the most talked about prospects in this year's class is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Trotter Jr. is a bit short for an inside backer at 6 feet tall, but he does weigh 230 pounds, which gives him the necessary weight to survive as a blitzer, which is his bread and butter at the next level. This is a guy who thrives at getting after the quarterback, but that's wherein lies the concerns. Because of his size, I expect Jeremiah Trotter Jr. to struggle at the next level to defend the run. He cannot get off blocks consistently enough right now to be a 3-down linebacker. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. projects as a backup Mike linebacker in a 4-3 defense at the next level. As a tackler, he can deliver a thump on contact, but he slips off too many attempts. He missed a career-high 16.3% of his attempted tackles last season, where his shortish arms limit his ability to wrap up ball carriers on an angle. Trotter Jr. is also a liability in man coverage, and he gets beaten more times than not when dropping back and navigating the field. He's an adequate zone defender, especially in the middle of the field, and can even create turnovers if the ball is thrown his way. On third downs, he's better off as a spy or blitzer. He could be a good special teamer, likely making his money there early on during his NFL career. For a player who projects to be taken sometime on day 2, there are certainly some big-time red flags that simply cannot be ignored. Alright guys, those are my most overrated prospects in the 2024 NFL Draft. Did I miss anybody? Who are your most overrated prospects? Let me know down in that comment section below. Thank you everyone for watching. Stay awesome.